Hi, Hilton here from Can't to Can, and today I'm talking to you about a video that I did with John Broadbent, author of Man Unplugged, terrific book. This one here answers the question that men like to fix things. We love fixing things. It's like part of our DNA. But what happens when we want to fix ourselves? Or somebody suggests we might need to fix ourselves. So this is like John's take on it. It's very interesting what he says in this video. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And we were having a bit of a laugh about this question before because we know it's true, and I know men will identify with this. The question, John, is men are programmed to fix things and solve problems. What can they do when it comes to fixing themselves?
My first response to that is fixing implies that we're broken.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the problem, is that when we get to midlife and we perhaps start to struggle, that we think we're broken and we don't know how to fix. And maybe the way to think of that is to reframe it, that there's nothing actually wrong with what's happening. And I've certainly learnt that midlife transition and the upheaval that tends to happen during that time can go one of two ways. One is that we accept that all the things that we thought we knew up until that time may not be true. And therefore we can embark, as we talked in the previous thing about base camp, and embark on this journey to climb our own mountain and discover more of who we are, and take the time for us to do some deeper level self-assessment. But I also see some men who think it's all crap and bullshit and I'm just going to continue on my path and irrespective of what. But what I have seen as a result is that men who then head up down that path end up trying to suppress the very yearning from their deeper selves that's seeking that healing, that expression. Because childhood wounds, the lack of self-worth, the lack of acknowledgement, the father wound, the father who never held us, never hugged us, never told us we were good enough, never told us that we were loved, never told us that he was proud of us. We can try and pretend that has no relevance and no bearing on us as much as we like, but I can assure you every man I know who actually engages with that realise how bereft we feel when we didn't get that from our dads. And so if our dads aren't here anymore, then we can do that work for ourselves, and we can establish our own sense of self and self-worth and self-value and self-esteem in the world. And men who then deny that opportunity tend to then grow up into grumpy old men.
All right, who don't do anything like that.
Yeah, and John Robinson in Death of a Hero says that they grow up to be the embittered old man. And the number of times I've seen a cranky 70 or 80-year-old man who has no relationship with his children, everybody gives him a wide berth, and he basically lives a lonely old life.
Yeah, bitter old man.
Bitter old man, and it's really, really tragic. And that's simply because at some point in his past, he's been given the opportunity to probably go into a bit of pain and do a bit of healing around what we feel we can heal, do a bit of healing around that for himself, and he's denied himself that opportunity for whatever reason. And so it's not necessarily about fixing, because I don't believe we're broken. I think it's about listening that what is actually seeking to emerge.
So I know a lot of men resist doing anything like this, because it means that I might have to get into some vulnerability.
Yes.
I might have to look at my world as I perceived it to be was all about being tough, being strong, being resilient, being successful. That's really important for me. It sounds to me like you're talking like I've got to get in touch with some feelings. I don't know what feelings are. I don't even know why the hell anybody would do this kind of crap. What's the point? I'm happy, kind of. Yeah. I think I'm happy.
I love that.
Why would I even want to get more vulnerable and weak?
How do you feel? I think I feel good.
Well, I'm just,
I love that phrase.
I feel good. Well,
but you hear that a lot from men. How do you feel? I think I feel good.
I think I feel good.
So how can you think you feel?
How do you think you feel?
You don't. You feel.
Yeah, you
don't think you feel.
Yeah.
And as you said before, it's that transition from the head to the heart. It's about getting out of our heads and thinking that things are as they are, and really being honest. A phrase that I would...
That's interesting you say, really being honest. So, in other words, the facade maybe of my life. So
the mask we live in. The mask we live in.
The mask we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or masks.
Yeah. The mask, that's right.
I mean, if
Yeah.
you talk to the family of a guy who's in that challenge at the moment of mid-40s, perhaps not happy, not knowing where to go, but the facade of going to work,
Yeah.
working in a Big Four bank or a Big Four consulting house or whatever it is, and that whole sort of corporate image,
Yeah.
if you went and spoke to his wife and kids, and you then spoke to his cyclist friends or his rowing friends or his whatever sports the guy's into, if he's into anything at all, but you'd find that the way that his children would describe him, his wife would describe him, his workmates would describe him, his social people would describe him, that he's actually probably 4 or 5 different people.
No, right. Yeah.
And he would have a different mask for his family than he would have for his work, than he would have for his social scene. Or his, Friday night out with the boys situation.
Yeah.
And I've certainly learned from my life and talking with other men that we're very, very good at bullshitting ourselves.
Right.
And I don't know whether you found that out to be the case.
Right. Oh, well, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So the first step is in order to...
Well, because that was the only self-esteem I had, was to believe that I was okay and my life was the way it was supposed to be. I mightn't have altogether been happy, but I didn't know what else there was.
Yes.
So I just would hang on to that.
Yes. And you think you're happy.
Well, I'm supposed to be happy.
Yeah.
I don't even know what happiness is.
And that's what I was leading the question.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
think you're happy, but
Yeah.
you don't actually know what happiness
No,
is
that's
because
right.
you've never experienced true happiness.
Yeah.
So you don't actually have a frame of reference again.
No, that's right.
And then
That's right.
you start this. I started this process, and then started to unbaggage and unburden myself, and then started to have these glimpses of bliss and
right.
happiness and peacefulness,
Peacefulness, yeah.
and quieten my chatter and feeling better about myself and learning to trust myself in certain situations which I didn't do before. And the more I did it, the better I felt, the happier I became. And it wasn't thinking I was happy, I was actually feeling happy.
Yeah, right.
And I went, wow, I've been carrying all this baggage. The way I see it is that we've got this big black Santa sack on our back filled with stuff.
Yeah.
And it's beliefs and values and acculturation and you should be this and you should be that. And no one ever says that we actually have permission to put that big black Santa sack down,
Yeah.
open it up,
Yeah.
and take out the brick and look at it, and that's a value of something. I have to be this way. And you go, well, is that my value or is it my dad's?
So a value would be just explain a value briefly. Open up. There's the brick of a value.
I have to be stoic.
I have to be stoic.
As an
I have to
example.
be tough.
Yeah, I have to be tough.
Yeah. Okay. At all costs.
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Yeah.
the stereotype of that
Yeah.
man, the Superman.
Yeah, Superman.
And you look at that and you go, well, is that true?
Is that true?
That was my dad,
Right.
but did it serve him? Is that me and is it serving me? Well, actually, no, I don't want to be stoic. I want to be open-hearted and connect with my kids and my partner, etc. And, well, actually, that's not serving me. Chuck it out.
Yeah, right.
And replace it with something else.
Yeah.
And that self-assessment of actually unpacking that Santa sack. And sometimes you look at it, there's a belief in there and you go, not sure, just put it back.
Yeah.
And carry it till the next time you want to take a look at the
Yeah,
Santa
right,
sack.
right.
But I see a lot of men travelling through life, particularly in their sort of late 50s and 60s, who've missed that midlife opportunity,
Yeah.
still carrying around that big black sack. And,
Yeah.
and I see it from the outside looking in, and it's a tragedy.
Yeah. And I know that there was a book, a corporate book written a long time ago, a business book, and it talked about working in the business and working on the business. And I suppose that's like life, you might say, is that I can be in my life, but if I actually look at what's here, I can start looking kind of at my life, or
Yes.
as opposed to being in it.
Yes.
And I can have a kind of a bit of time out just to think, is this the life I want to be leading? What is even the stuff I'm carrying around? Did I even know it existed? And that's not an altogether comfortable journey to go on.
Not at all.
But I guess the alternative
The
is...
most difficult, challenging, uncomfortable, painful
Yeah.
journey I've ever done, and worth every second.
Yeah.
In the moments of the depths of despair and pain and really unpacking parts of myself that I really didn't know that I had, and was probably quite ashamed of my behaviour at times in my life. And I think I need to make a
Hands
distinction
up for
there.
any man that's been ashamed of his behaviour in the past.
Exactly. You know,
Absolutely.
and I think there's a distinction that needs to be made here between being shamed and feeling ashamed.
Yeah,
And,
right.
and I just make a distinction in that being shamed is someone external to us saying, you know, you're a bad person because.
Right.
It could be sexual orientation, it could be skin colour, it could be, you know, whatever other prejudices that people have.
Yeah.
But feeling ashamed for me was when I realised that I'd behaved in a way that was not conducive to the person that I thought I was. It wasn't to my level of authenticity.
Yeah, right.
And to be honest, I found feeling ashamed, as painful as it was, to be the greatest motivator to change my behaviour.
Oh, right.
Because I didn't like feeling ashamed.
No,
But to
like
do
how
that, I
you
had,
behaved in the past.
yeah,
Yeah.
To do that, I had to be honest.
Yeah, right. Right.
Have I behaved in a way that is conducive to who I believe I want to live life as a professional human being?
Mm.
And if it's not, then I need to change my behaviour. And the motivating factor was feeling ashamed about how I behaved.
Right. Okay.
And then to have to go to someone and apologise from that genuine, vulnerable place that you mentioned before
Yeah.
is just scary as hell.
Yeah.
However, every time I've done that in my life, I've been moved to tears, and the reception from the person that I've offended in some way has been tremendous. I don't think in the times that I've done that in my whole life has anyone ever taken advantage of me in that vulnerable position.
Right. And instead, they've actually welcomed the honesty, the authenticity.
Yeah.
The fact that he's a genuine human being who's apologised for making a mistake.
And I couldn't do that when I was lacking in self-worth.
Yeah, right. Right.
Hi there. Look, thanks for watching this video, and if you've enjoyed what we're doing and what we're about here at Can't to Can, subscribe below and you can be kept up to date with all the interesting things that we're doing to make people's lives better. Thank you.